Hi, let us create our very first HTML web page. The output should look something like this. Nothing fancy, a simple website. So this is how you do it. First of all, open a folder, right click on it, and create a new text document. Give it a name. And the naming conventions that we follow for HTML files is it should all be um, in lowercase. It cannot have any special characters in it. We can't use a dollar or something of that sort. The only special characters that are allowed in this are a are an underscore and an hyphen. We're not going to use any of that here. We can't even have spaces in between words. It should all be a single string. Now that I've entered this, I'm going to click enter, and it will ask to change the file format, because this was a TXT format. We are changing it into an HTML format. Click yes on that, and now right click on the file and open it with any text editor that you want to use. You can use Notepad, Notepad++. I'm using Sublime Text. Please do not use any GUI based editor like Dreamweaver. So the very first line of code that all HTML documents have is a doc type declaration. So what is a doc type declaration? This is not an HTML tag, it is just a declaration. This tells the browser the version of HTML that we are using, and this tag is for an HTML5 doc type. Now let me show you the basic template for an HTML web page. These are the tags that are required at a minimum. I'll explain each of these later. So these are the basic tags that all HTML pages have. First of all, what is a tag? This is a tag and this is a tag. So almost all the tags in HTML have an opening tag and a closing tag. So what the opening tag has two angle brackets, the closing tag has the two angle brackets and a forward slash in it. There are a few tags which do not require a closing tag, and we'll discuss them later. So every HTML document has an HTML tag, and in that you have a head tag and a body tag. The head tag is where the content regarding the web page is the information regarding the web page is put in, and the content regarding the web page is put in the body tag. The meta tag in the head tag defines the character set, that character encoding that we'll be using for this particular web page, and the one that we're using here is Unicode, and for Unicode you have to type in UTF-8. And in the head tag we also have a title tag. A title tag is required to display information about the web page in the title bar of the browser. I'll show you an example of that. Let's type in my first demo. Let's save this file and let's open it in the browser. That's funny. I'll be using Chrome to see the output, and there you go. There's nothing in the web page because we've not written any code for in the body tag, but we've given a title tag to the web page, and that is displayed here in the title bar of the browser, my first demo. Now that we've added some code, let me explain what a tag is, what an attribute is, and what an HTML element is. The tag is nothing but this displayed between two angle brackets with a forward slash, and an element is any content that is in between an opening tag and a closing tag. So an element is an opening tag plus content plus the closing tag, and the attribute is this character character set that we have for a meta tag is known as the attribute for that particular tag. An attribute is nothing but something that defines the behavior of a tag and something that can be used to change the behavior of a tag. Now let's add some content into the web page. Let us have a header tag. So first heading. There are 6 different header tags that we can use, starting from H1 to H6, and all of them can be used in the same fashion. I'll just show you this. Wait, it's done. And what does this do? Let's just check the output of that. Refresh, and there you go. H1 has more font weight and has a higher font size, and H2 is somewhat lesser than the earlier tag. Similarly, as we go towards H6, as we go to H6, the font size and the weight of the font decreases. So H1 is the largest and H6 will be the smallest. Now let's add a paragraph to this particular page. A paragraph tag is a p tag. Each paragraph has a specific indent to it and a specific weight to it. So I'll be adding 2 paragraphs and you'll know, and I'll demonstrate the difference. Okay, let's save this and let's check the output again. So there you go. There is an indent between these 2 paragraphs, and it is and another line can actually fit in, but every time you add a paragraph, it will take the indent of at least 2 lines. If this is something that you would not want, we have another option. I'll show you that in a second. So just check this. The indent that is there between these 2 lines is a lot. So if we want to have lesser indent, we can use a break tag. So what is a break tag? A break tag is, just let me delete this. Okay. A break tag is nothing but BR enclosed between these 2 brackets, and this is a break. line. So what does a break tag do? It actually forces a line feed and displays the content that comes after a break tag in the next line. Let me save this and let's see the output of that. So there you go. You can see that the indent for a break tag is different from the indent that we have for a paragraph, and whenever you want to have lesser indent you can use a break tag. And as you have seen, this break tag does not have a closing tag associated with it because it is a self-contained tag and it is not a container of content. So this is an example of a self-contained tag. Let us now add some styling to this web page. I mean nothing fancy, just some separation between content. We have an HR tag which is for a horizontal ruler. What it does is I'll show you that, and this is also a self-contained tag, so it does not require a closing tag. So let's save this and I'll show you the output of that. There you go. You have two lines because I've added two HR tags. So this can be used to separate or group content. And now let's add an image to this page. So HTML images are in this form, so an image tag is in this form. So this is also a self-contained tag, so it does not require a closing tag. So, and for every image image tag we require a source and an alt attributes. The source attribute will have the file name or the paths to the file. It can be a web address, it can be a physical file location, and the alt tag will contain the information about the image. So let's add an image to this HTML file. For that we need an image file, and I have one in this folder. Let me take the name of that. Let me copy the name of it and let's paste. We have to give the file format as well, or else it won't work, so we always have to define the file format. We can have a web address in this place pointing to a file, or we can have a physical file as I've already mentioned. And let me give the description of that as SIU logo. Let's check if this works fine. It is not working fine. The image is not being displayed. It shows a broken link, and the reason for that is we have given the file name here, but we have not defined the path to it because the file name is not in the same directory as your HTML page. If it were in the same directory as the HTML page, let me show you. I'm copying the file and I'm going to paste it here in the same directory as the HTML file. And now that it is in the same directory as the HTML file, let's refresh the page and see what happens. There you go. Now it is displayed because the HTML file and the image are in the same folder. But if we were to display a file which is in another folder, how do we do it? Let me delete this, and we already have that image file in an images folder, so we will have to edit the paths to it. So this is in the images folder, that particular file, so I've added the relative path to it. Let me refresh and see if it works now. It works fine. Now that we've added an image, the output looks exactly as the demo page that I showed you earlier. So we've actually made the page as it is. Now that we've got the output of the file and it looks just the way that we want it to look, let us check this file for errors. To validate an HTML file, to make sure that there are no errors in an HTML file, we use the W3 schools the W3 validator, so which is available on this URL. So let's just upload this file and check if there are any errors in this web page and if there is anything that we have to change. So there you go, my first demo. And since we are using an HTML5 doc type, we have to define that in this HTML5 experimental, and the encoding, the character encoding that we are using is Unicode, so specify that here. And now let's check for errors. It'll take a while. The results are coming up. As you can see, the web page validated perfectly. There are no errors. Document checking completed. No errors or warnings in this web page. So what would happen if there are errors in the web page? Will the page display properly, or will it show the content in a different way? Let's check it out. Now I'm going to intentionally make errors in this web page and check to see if it passes the validator test and if it displays the same way, the output is the same or not. So let me remove the closing tag of a paragraph, of both the paragraphs, and let me remove the alt option, that is the alt attribute that's there. Let's save this first. First of all, let's see the output that we had earlier. So this is the way it looked earlier. Now that I've saved the file, let me refresh the page. Will the output change now that we have introduced a few errors into the web page? We find that there is no difference in the display in the output of the HTML web page, because the browser makes sure that the content is displayed properly. This behavior might not be uniform across other browsers, so it is always suggested that we validate our HTML web page to make sure that it works uniformly and it is displayed uniformly across all web browsers. Let's check for errors on the validator for this particular file. Let's go back. Let's choose the file again, and we have the same character encoding and document type. Let's go for a check. As you can see, now there are errors in the web page and it has not validated properly. So the errors that it has mentioned here are that an image element must always have an alt attribute, because the alt attribute is required for screen readers, and if the net connection is slow and the image does not load, the content that we give in alt acts as a placeholder for the particular image. So let's add an alt attribute to this image. Let's save it, and let's again validate the web page. It should validate properly now that we have added an alt attribute. And it does. There are no warnings or errors in the web page, but if you've noticed, I have removed the paragraph closing tags in both these places. That might not come up as an error, but it is suggested to always have a closing tag for paragraphs. Now that we've learned about validation, we come to the end of this particular demo. In this, we have learned about doc types, we've learned about tags, elements, attributes. We've learned about the basic structure of an HTML web page. It should have a head tag, it should have a body tag, it should have an HTML tag, and we've also learnt about an image tag, a header tag, a paragraph tag. I hope you practice this, and also visit W3 Schools and check out their HTML5 tutorial and go through that. And I'm going to post this particular demo file in our demos folder. Thank you.